studio. I think both Kunn and Liris, hopefully today, will give you a really good insight into what a day in the life of an aquaculture entrepreneur is, and also how maybe the Hatch connection and relationship has helped them, and maybe able to guide you in your decisioning around maybe joining our program. So maybe without further ado, Liris, I think you're on mute there, but ladies first, if you would like to maybe give yourself an introduction, and folks, I'd like to congratulate Liris on being announced as and recognized as a Forbes 30 under 30 awardee. Well done, Liris. And maybe you can give yourself a quick introduction, please, about you and JALA.
Thank you, Wayne. Hello, everyone. So my name is Liris. I'm Liris Maduningtyas, CEO and co-founder of JALA Tech. We are the first, I think, one of the first cohort of Hatch accelerator back there in Norway, Bergen, Norway. So I was among one of the 8 wonderful startup that is inside this accelerator. And JALA Tech itself is actually, we're doing a service, technology services toward shrimp farmers. So we improve shrimp farmers' yield by providing farm management software to track their farm performance, giving treatment recommendations and prediction to the shrimp farmers, as well as we provide IoT water quality monitoring for the farmers. And in 2020, we connect our shrimp farmers to processing company with traceable trading solution. So currently we are mostly focused operating in Indonesia region. So we have 8,600 users at the moment. And we monitor across 16,000 shrimp ponds in Indonesia. And so far, the progress that JALA has been made is grew exponentially after Hatch program. So I'm so thankful that becoming one of the company that is incubated by Hatch. And yeah, later on, I was sharing some sort of like experience that I experienced with Hatch, and maybe if you have other questions too, Wayne.
Liris, thank you. Kunn, good afternoon. Maybe you can share a little bit about you and Team Algaeba.
Yes, my name is Kunn, and I'm a CEO and founder of Algaeba. We found in 2016.
Sorry, Kunn, just to pause you there. You're a bit soft. Is it possible to
sound? Yeah.
Hello. Can you hear me better?
Yeah. It's still soft. Maybe check in the bottom left. There's an arrow to the right of mute, and to see your microphone. If it's the connected, that one.
Yeah. Okay.
So to the right of the mute button, there's a small arrow pointing up. But in the meantime, everyone, if you have any questions for the founders, please. No, can't hear you.
Hello.
No.
Yeah, quite soft. Maybe you can try plugging it out, the earphones, and see how it works.
Oh, sorry.
All good. It's part and parcel of our lives nowadays.
For sure, Ben.
Yeah.
Hello.
Maybe Ben, or maybe Kunn, if you can speak up a little louder. I don't know why it's not coming through, but just so that we can hear you, maybe you can speak a little louder. Can you try that for us?
Okay. Can you hear me better?
Yeah, if you can speak loudly, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So my name is Kunn. I'm a CEO and founder of Algaeba. It's better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we founded in 2016. We started by becoming an algae company, as our name suggested. But in 2018, right before we joined Hatch, we started to shift our focus to embedded the AI system to the technology or to the solution. And we started the solution on the shrimp hatchery. We help the hatchery to count their post larva. And also in 2020, we started to see more opportunity in the fish hatchery. So we deploy our solution. We call it see-through counter to many hatchery mainly in Thailand. This year we started to see some inquiries from abroad, and we already shipped a few units to Singapore and Philippines. We joined hatch in 2019, and then 2020 we have a big COVID.
Yeah, and that's been a challenge for everybody, and we can talk about that maybe a little later. What would be really interesting maybe for the listeners to hear about, Liris, if I can start with you. What was life like for JALA Tech before you joined the Hatch program, and also maybe why you sought to maybe apply to join the accelerator back in 2018?
Yes, thank you, Wayne. So before joining Hatch, so we have this company. It's not JALA at that time. It was like a project code name. And then we were just like bunch of engineers and as well as room farmers that want to try to create a product, make a prototyping, trying to selling to several farmers, but we got rejected. We see like maybe the product is wrong, or maybe our strategy or in marketing is also wrong. What do we need to do? How can we become one of these startup that living in the attic at that time, becoming something that is quite large and employ a lot of people and bringing impact. So we're looking for accelerator back then. And I remember that I did spoke to Aquaspark, but then they recommend me to join Hatch Accelerator. I spoke with Wayne and as well as Karsten at that time. I asked about what they can actually help JALA at that time. And then I guess it's back then we were almost dead in terms of startup many times, like, you know, near that experiment that I found before joining Accelerator Hatch. We only have 20 shrimp ponds that try our solution. 20 shrimp ponds, and that's we have like a huge churn rate at that time because we're just like piloting and prototyping. With that 20 ponds, I think after joining Hatch in just like 3 months, we reached 100 ponds, and then it just like grew exponentially after the accelerator. So the life before accelerator is just like bootstrapping, a lot of trial and error, rejected from the farmers, not getting revenue properly, difficult in financially, and just like loss in terms of product development, manufacture, and go to market. Wayne.
Okay, interesting. And Gunn, what about you? What was life like before you joined the accelerator, and what did the team Algaeba look like?
Before I decided to join Hatch in 2019, our company was like at that time struggle with the algae products that we try to commercialize. And then because we shift to the AI technology to be embedded in the counter, we think that it's a very good time for us to explore this opportunity with the global accelerator. So that's the main reason that we decided to join Hatch Accelerator at that time. We met a few members from Hatch in 2018 though, but at that time I decided that with algae products, I don't think it's a good time for me to be there in 2018. So I wait and I kept in touch with the founder or the partners of the Hatch. And then in 2019, I think it's the right time for us to join Hatch. At that time, we didn't have customer for the counter because we only had the prototype, maybe just the mock-up prototype. But then during the accelerator, we had tried to push our need to 5 customers. That's about it.
Okay, and I guess, I mean, I see some questions coming in, everybody, and we maybe hold them for the Q&A at the end. But it's interesting also for those joining who are, trying to find a little bit more about what it looks like to be an aquaculture entrepreneur, that both Liris and Kunn, probably before they started their companies, had probably little or very little experience in terms of aquaculture. I know certainly Liris is an engineer, and I think many of you, joining may not necessarily have 20 years of experience in aquaculture, but you've got potentially skills and experience that can certainly help build a business in this space. So I think that's an important thing to mention. Maybe just, I mean, we talked a little bit about before the accelerator and what your company looked like. Maybe to get to the kernel of this session today, maybe Ben, if you can take over in terms of they're taking Kunn and Liris through the experience of during the accelerator and what happened during that process.
Yeah, so Kunn, thanks for that, Wayne. Really interested to find maybe two things that ways in which Hatch helped you during the accelerator program that maybe you didn't think about before, but then on the program you're like, wow, I really needed to think about this, or this was a whole other skill set I needed to learn. Yeah, maybe Kunn, you can go first.
So the first thing that I learned from Hatch is that I used the Hatch accelerator as an opportunity to bring our team together to Hawaii. So all of us see the same vision of the company. But the second most important thing that we learned from Hatch is that we learn how to fail with the customer, especially with the first few customers, just like Liris, that at first maybe our device didn't work, but we just had to try, and we had to talk to them and learn what will make our device better. And that is through our mentorship. I would like to mention Kai Sato, which pushed me a lot to do this, and also many members from Hatch. Mm-hmm.
Thanks for that, Kunn. You mentioned a bit about failing, bringing a team together, and also a bit about the mentor network. Liris, I'm curious to hear in terms of what was your perspective, because I understand you attended two different programs, and programs do change from year to year. So maybe what are the 2 or 3 things that you learned from the program?
Thank you, Ben. So number one is team. So Hatch helped us to restructure the organization, the team, the founders. I was when I joined JALA, I was an intern, and then just like got promoted into marketing and helping Shoki, one of other co-founder, and then I decided to stay and long at this project, and then branding it into JALA. And when I come to Hatch, Wayne is the one who actually realized that the team itself needs to be reshaped. After, I think 3 days after I fly to Norway and meet the Hatch team, I was the CEO. So that's number one. So that's changed almost quite a bit, like everything in JALA. Number two is that at that time, we don't know the potential of our product in a 100% full capacity. So Hatch helped me figure out a lot of things from mentors. I know we spend morning, afternoon, and night in the office. George is also helping me to build like the business model. I was introduced to several mentors. My mentor at that time is Christian Rangen. I was also introduced with a lot of mentors that had this really bringing people together, like all of the people in the industry. All of them give us some wonderful insights how we build the company from just an IoT hardware and just like a little bit piece of software into something that we build today. And number three, Hatch helped me to do branding. And I remember, I think 2 weeks before Demo Day, we were in Singapore, flying from Norway to Singapore. And in Singapore, I had a call from one of the investors that soon to be the lead investor in the seed round. And we had a call for like 1.5 hours. And we make a deal at that time. So branding is very, very important for my company, and Hatch is helping me to do that. So that is the three most learning from Hatch, and how Hatch is actually helped my company.
Thanks for that, Liris. Maybe I want to dig a little deeper in terms of the mentoring aspect. And Kunn, maybe your audio is great now, by the way. If you could speak a little softer, then it'll be perfect. Kunn, maybe I'll ask a bit on how mentoring has which aspects of the mentoring you appreciated the most during the program?
I think one of the unique point of mentors from Hatch is that they are actually those who are successful in the global level. I met many people who exit in Singapore and in other countries with their company worth more than 500 million US dollar. I mean, worth of selling, which is very high for a company like us. And we met those kind of people. So the quality of mentors and those advisors are of very high standard, maybe the very highest. And then the second point is that they are knowledgeable in their area. And in terms of aquaculture industry, they can link you to the right people, to the right direction. And then they ask us with the right question, maybe some of the challenging question that we have to think very carefully before we move next step, something like that.
Right, thanks for that, Kunn. And then in terms of all those one-to-one sessions that we like to have a lot. So for those are not familiar with our program, we tend to hold a lot of mentor sessions, like general sessions, and then we have one-on-one sessions with each startup. Kunn, what was that experience like in terms of the one-to-one sessions, and then you have to pitch your idea really quickly, and then they'll point out different things. What was that like for you?
Yeah, it was very good experience for me, because at that time I was very bad in terms of pitching. Right now, okay, it's a little bit better, but not the best, but still better. And we met with a lot of people. And then, like, for example, I met with a guy from Benchmark. I think, I'm sorry that he asked me, Oscar, yes, Oscar Hennig. He asked me a very good question, and point me to the very good direction, and then he also connected me to the network here in Thailand, which is very nice of him. So I think I had a very good time spending like 15 to 20 minutes with each mentor. With some of them, we still keep in touch. I send them email regularly to update the company. Some mentor, I send them email to get the quick update and maybe get some opinion from their perspective.
Thanks, Kunn. And Liris, for you, what was the experience like? So we like the mentors, like successful entrepreneurs, and then industry people, the one-to-one sessions. What was that process like for you?
Well, like I mentioned before, it's very, very wonderful. I had Christian Ryan. He teach me how to project the company for the next 3 to 5 years. Let us understand which direction that the company has. And I remember writing all of the possibility of keywords that JALA can do in the next 5 years. And I still had the photo, but I tried to look at it. I just not found it to share with you guys. But like from that perspective, currently JALA already capturing like 50% of it. That's number one. And I remember there's this one mentor called Liao. So he teach me 3 things: don't quit, don't die, don't stop, don't quit, don't die. I still remember that one. It's really coming to my heart. So every time I want to stop or I want to quit, I just keep thinking that Leo is the one who taught me not to do that. And I remember that he also teach me how to pitch in front of people in terms of like the body language and so on. I also had Willem. Willem is another mentor and also the guy from Kunn teach me how wonderful data in aquaculture can be useful. So that's also the thing. And some other mentors internally from Hatch itself, Georg, and then Ivan Paladin for the financials, Karsten, Wayne, and Jeremy at that time. So a lot of them is helping me a lot in terms of the business. So yes, Hatch offer general session, very, very useful, one-to-one sessions. But the best thing is that I can take all of the team in Hatch, so I can say and conduct a separate meeting to each one of the team in Hatch outside the program, and that's really helpful for the company. Ben.
Thanks, Liris. Maybe, yeah, you mentioned so many things. Really appreciate the compliments. You mentioned motivation from Bill Yao. You mentioned pitching. You mentioned also the business development and the internal mentorship. Maybe I just want to zoom in on one of that. Why is pitching so important, and who are you pitching to for you, Liris?
So yes, pitching is very important because pitching is the basic skill as a startup to not only get the investors. So pitching, in my opinions, and as well as that the mentor also taught, pitching is to pitch your product to your customer, pitch your product or your company to your maybe your other team if you want to hire people, wonderful or powerful people. So you have to pitch. You need to pitch as well to get a partner. You need to pitch in order to get an investors. You need to pitch in other, to tell your story to all of the stakeholders in the industry. So pitch is very important. And after learning how to pitch, I gained a lot of more confidence. Hatch, all of the mentors helped me to shape my story. And from that, it was like, it's a gain momentum for the company, to be honest.
Thanks, Liris. Yeah, that's something we enjoy very much doing, to shape the story and then also to shape the company and help the startups achieve their full potential. Kunn, what about you? What has been the importance of pitching to you?
Yeah, just like Lilis, I think it's the skill that everyone should have. It's either to chase after the girl, you have to pitch. Chase after the customer, you also have to pitch your product. Chase after the potential partner or potential investor. Everything is about pitching. So you have to be concise and do it to hit their heart, so they get you to the next meeting. Very important, Ben.
Yeah, and I'd just like to point out that both Kunn and Liris are fantastic pitchers for different audiences. I've seen them both. Always wonderful to watch. That's something we have in our programs as well. And maybe I'll ask one more question on the program side during the program. So both of you, as mentioned, Kunn, it's a shrimp hatchery technology to help speed up the workflow, and then Liris is an IoT technology for shrimp farmers to help them get better data to manage their farms better, and then also now working with processing companies. How has your mission changed, right? How has your mission changed during the program, or has it changed at all? Maybe I'll go with Kunn first.
Yeah, our company mission is to feed the world, and we think we still have that mission to our heart. And then the solution or the way that we try to go to after our mission is maybe slightly different than before, but we still go after the same mission as before.
Thanks, Kunn. Yeah. And you, Liris, has your what is your mission, and has it changed at all?
Yes, it is changed. In the company perspective, our mission is actually trying to improve the shrimp farmers' yield. So that's the missions that I remember always putting in front of my laptop and everything. So the missions remains almost the same, but the way we do it in terms of the solutions, product change, product market fit, and so on is quite, have its own journey. So the journey of achieving those missions is, I think, the one that is changing over time. So at the moment, after we see the potential, the full potential of JALA technology, we're not just helping the shrimp farmers, as a services company, but currently we kind of like wants also to help to produce the sustainable shrimps in the world, and gaining the momentum of the impact with several new product businesses that we had at the moment. So I think that's something that I can share, Ben.
Yeah, that's very interesting to hear how both your missions have stayed the same since before joining into after, but then the ways to achieve that mission have changed maybe slightly. Yeah, that's just interesting for me to know in general. Wayne, maybe over to you if you have any more points about the program.
It's really interesting, and for me, as a smile on my face, with the people that we introduced as part of the program, that you remember, the little snippets of advice that they gave, and I think you're quite right. I mean, bringing your reaction and your interaction with mentors, and I see one or two on the line here today, so welcome to you guys. And the role that they play in shaping your business, but maybe just a little bit, both of you, on the role that your peers played on the program, your fellow participants on the program. This innovation studio we're having in Singapore shortly, you're going to be connected with a mix of different people from different backgrounds, and maybe Liris, the role that those participants on the program have then during the program in terms of helping you, but also since then, and how it's helped you in terms of that kind of a new network. Liris?
Sorry, I lost like the past 30 seconds.
That's okay. I just about your peers on the program, all the other teams, and they're all doing different things, but maybe the benefit or the value that like 10 aquaculture companies in one room, all entrepreneurs trying to figure things out. What kind of effect or positive effect did it have on you and your learning?
Yes. So before joining Hatch, I remember that I worked with a company, in Western company, in an oil and gas company, and the phase of working is very, very fast. When I joined with the JALA team back then, I was like a bit shocked because of the phase, the working phase is not as fast as with Western company. And then going to Hatch, I persuade my team member one by one. So I'm not only having me in the program, but I have another two co-founders welcome to the Norway, and see how is the other startup from around the world bringing their best into the program, encourage them to do the same, and bringing the culture, which is the fast working environment and the culture, go back to home and try to work as fast as possible in Indonesia. We know that Indonesia or Southeast Asia is quite not as fast as workers as I can mention, but having those programs, seeing other team working hard, it's really inspired us to also do the same and bring the culture back to home. So that's, I think, the most valuable lesson learned that I learned, having a lot of group together in one program, Wayne. And
Nice.
as well as their advice and friendship and sad and happy, the party and so on, except that part.
I think it's good when you're all in the ditch, trying to figure things out, when all the world is against you, that you've got, there are 10 people maybe or so in the room, all feeling the same things. It's been quite comforting and supportive environment. I think that's important. What about you, Kunn? You joined our program 2019, and our biggest cohort, there were 13 companies on that cohort. How did that peer-to-peer support work for you, and then learning about different companies from different parts of the world focusing on different technologies? How did that assist you?
I think they push each other a lot. I think when I see many of the founders in the cohort, like I have to mention like Luis or like Alexia or like Bob, they seem to be very motivative, and to see some of them successful in terms of licensing or in terms of exit or in terms of getting more funding. I'm very happy for them, but then I want to be like them also. So I have to work harder to get to their point also. It's like happy for them, but I want to be happy too, something like that. And I saw some of the team also gone something terribly bad. So I feel very sorry for them, but that is the life of startups. So I encourage them to maybe to do just like Lily said, don't stop, don't quit, don't die, right? And also, yes, we learn. I learn from all of them. Like when I know that Alexia got more funding, I talked to her. How did she do that? It's very good for us to have a very good network of co-founder like this. So we help each other. Mhm.
Right. And I think you know, I think that role is pretty important. And you know, I think for people listening in, okay, you've been on the accelerator program, you've met a whole load of mentors, you've built out your network, which is incredibly important. Just maybe what is different with I mean, I can continue with you, Kunn. What's different with Algaeba post the program versus when during and before that? You know, what is it that's changed for you in terms of all the learnings that you've taken from being on the accelerator program?
I can say maybe two things. One thing is the speed that I do business. Before I joined Hatch, I think I was so relaxed, and that was not good for the business. But during Hatch, I learned a lot from the accelerator, and then because of the COVID, but still we try to keep the pace that we were with Hatch. So that's why we move very fast even in the COVID situation. And the second thing is to I write it down, but that's only one thing.
That's okay. Thank you, Kunn. What about you, Liris? I mean, I think JALA Tech's poster program has had an incredible journey. You know, you've met a lot of investors, you've raised money, your team was growing at one stage out to 30 plus people. You know, how has that happened, and what was the difference for everybody listening in terms of, you know, the learnings that you took from being part of a program like that, and how you implemented them, and what the difference was?
Well, the confidence is different. The attitude toward building businesses is also different. We weren't taught to be an entrepreneur back then. Having this program, we met a lot of people, so we learned from that experience. Other than the company is growing in terms of employee, the user is also growing. The business is also growing. I see that the founder itself, the way that we think about problem is also different. Like back then, before joining Accelerator, having this a lot of exposure toward mentors, industry players, and so on. Every time we face a problem, it took us months to figure out. But after the accelerator, accelerate, make it faster. It took us only hours to figure out if we have a problem. So those is, I think, what makes us, the things that I can say it's change. And I'm wishing for you guys who wants to have a change, culture change on the company. Yeah, come and visit Accelerator and Hatches is one of the best. Wayne.
Thank you, Liris. Yes, Kunn.
Yeah.
I recall what I jot down in my notebook, and that is the customer oriented. Before I joined Hatch, because my background is more to the engineering and scientific, so I think of the product first. But then after I join Hatch, customer come first, then our solution can adapt to them and maybe adjust or modify for them. And our upcoming product will be even more excited because that is toward the user and the customers. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Gunn. And I think we made a very specific decision to include two companies from Asia today. And, you know, from an aquaculture perspective, obviously, you know, the bulk of global aquaculture production is in that part of the world. But for both of you, how important is it that you get a truly global perspective of aquaculture, not just maybe on your region, but get a real understanding of, you know, the global aquaculture, you know, picture, and being able to connect with people from all over the world? How important was that for you in terms of, you mentioned culture for one, Liris, but, you know, just generally how you approach a business, you know, how important was that to connect with a global community?
Yes, Wayne. So we were in Norway, so that's the salmon country, right? So everywhere we turn, it's salmon. It was so fantastic to see the community and ecosystem built by the salmon industry in Norway. Make me realize how big it is and how technology can actually shift the direction of the industry. So for some time, we always see salmon industry as our benchmark, how we can bring the technology that is implemented in other fisheries to shrimp. And when we tell people what we do, they say that, oh, this is something that you can reach, or even you can be as tech savvy as a salmon industry in less than 5 years. So I guess the encouragement from other fishery player really boosts our confidence for what we do in this shrimp business sector, because we targeting different markets. Southeast Asia is very different than Europe, right? In terms of the acceptance and technology and so on, and the rapid change of this technology. So I guess that really help us to always believe there's some way that we can be as tech savvy as salmon industry. So that's how the industry and the industry. So in Hatch, we were proud to processing company of salmon, to offshore salmon farm and so on. So we see that that's very wonderful journey, and I love to see how people out there is very passionate about it. And personal learning as well, when if I can share. So because I'm a woman, and woman in shrimp industry in Indonesia is very rare. I see a lot of women in salmon industry, so I really like that.
A really good point, Liris, for sure. And I'm glad you enjoyed the trips to the salmon farms, as cold as they were, from deep Norway country. And Gunn, what about you? The same question to you. You know, you had a wonderful opportunity not only to go to Norway, but you visit beautiful Hawaii too, and back to Singapore.
Yes, we our cohort in 2019, we were lucky to be in Hawaii, and then we were in a place that we call, like, it's a NASA for aquaculture, right? It's a NASA station for aquaculture. So I learned that there are many people working on like octopus or like Kangvansaichol fish, new in Kangvansaichol fish industry. And because that we went to Norway, we went to Hawaii, and then come back to Singapore, and a short visit to Indonesia. We learned one thing, that in Norway, although they have salmon, in Indonesia they have a tilapia. I think I have the same conclusion as Liris, that one day tilapia will have the same tech as salmon, and then we have a plenty of food to have. And the second thing is that when I went to Norway or Hawaii, in Norway it's very weird, because normally they grow salmon, but then I met a company that tried to grow shrimp. When am I? Liris, you have to know that. They are trying to grow vanillite in Norway. So after that, not only this one company, I learned from the news that there are a few companies that successful to have shrimp in Norway. So I learned that one thing that aquaculture can be adapted to many countries in many contexts. And one day, salmon, trout, I know that one of my previous company tried to grow rainbow trout in Thailand. So it could be like a cross between country, and the technology can be swapped to each other. And then this come to my learning that we have to move fast and we have to move forward every day, because many people try to do the same thing. So if we still doing the same thing today, tomorrow will be left behind. So that's the thing that I learned from the global perspective, really.
Okay, thank you, Kunn. And I'm going to leave the question to that, because I know there's a number of questions from the audience, which is really important to us today. But I guess for anybody listening in, contemplating applying, or who has applied to the Innovation Studio in Singapore, I hope that the discussion and the learnings and what Liris and Kunn has shared today will give you an insight into maybe some of the potential opportunities and learnings, and where to take your idea or your business to the next stage, and taking it global, but also importantly connecting with a global network of supporters who are really interested and keen in building more successful aquaculture startups and supporting amazing CEOs like we have today. So thank you guys for sharing some of your experiences. And maybe Ben, over to you, maybe if you can filter some of the questions from the audience today.
Yeah, so first question very quickly is for Kunn. It's from Joe McDonald. Why did you switch direction from algae products to AI?
That's a very tough question, because algae is at first very difficult to grow, but at that time we believe in ourselves that we can do better than the others, and right today we still believe that we can do better. But when I learn from the customer, I try to convey our concentrated product to the shrimp industry. They don't really easily accept the product, and I try many years. So I think it's the right time for me to move on to the next product, on the next it's like the next phase of the company. And in some of the competition, it made me realize that our company has to move to the other territory that maybe the weakness of the industry, but we can bring the strength in. So that's why we shift our expertise to AI. Mm-hmm. We
Thanks
can
for that,
share
Kunn.
later. Yes, I know Joe McDonald.
Thanks for that, Kunn. And that relates to the next question as well from Somesh Kumar. You're talking about customers. Somesh Kumar is asking, how do you know your product has reached a high degree of product market fit? Maybe Liris, you can take this first. So how do you know your product has reached a lot of product?
Yes.
It has great product market fit.
Right. So one thing, you see that a retention rate is also growing. So you cannot say that if somebody or people buying your product at the first time, it's already considered as a product market fit. But for us, if you have retention on people using your technology over the time, well, that is you can say MVP, minimum viable product, which you can assume is as a product market fit. But again, don't stop to do a product development, because the iterations to reach product market fit is very long journey. But the KPI, the target that you can also track is the retention rate. You can also consider to create user feedback, and then you can also try to track If it's application, for example, you can also track the performance of your product because you can do it online. If it's a product that is having like a physically product, for example, chemical product or hardware product, then you can also consider, having several use cases and how the impact can be done from this product. You need to measure each of them in specific or different environment. So there's a lot of directions that if you like to contact me personally outside of this forum, we can talk more. We can talk more about that.
Thanks for that, Liris. And if it's okay with both Kunn and Liris, I'll put your emails in the chat. Yeah.
I like to add to Liris that I really agree on the retention, because when you first sell your unit, it's just first sale. But once you realize that your customer use it every day, that's that time when you see that your product start to fit to the customer, fit to the problem. And when they use every day, and then they recommend to their peers, and then when you go to their peers and then you pitch a few minutes, and then they decided to buy, that's time when you have a product market fit, I think.
Thanks, Kunn. Both very relevant answers, and you are saying a lot of that. You are agreeing a lot on the same points in terms of customer retention, not just the initial sale, but that iteration process is very important as well to constantly engage in product development. So the next question is from Cherry. Liris, thank you for answering it in the chat. The question is asking if you teach college students who specialize in aquaculture or who are starting to conceive ideas to venture in aquaculture and its technologies, the Cherry is asking, what advice would you give to these students, and what factors should they consider in making a successful venture in aquaculture technologies? Maybe Kunn can go first.
If they solve one particular problem, I would suggest the student to explore the existing alternatives, which is very important to know whether or not there are other companies trying to do the same thing, or maybe trying to solve the same problem with a better solution. If you are happy with your finding and then you think that there are big opportunity, the problem is big, long, strong. Big is like more people have problem. Long is like they have this problem for a long time, and this problem is like a pain in their ass. Then you can go for the venture.
Thanks, Kunn.
And
for you, Liris?
Ben,
yeah.
I'd like to just very quickly answer that question from my perspective, and is be prepared to fail, and fail well, and learn from it. You learn far from your failures than you do success. And any first attempt to build something, and these guys will tell you, this is not their first go at building a business or developing an idea. If you get really good at learning from those failures, I think you're on the right road to building something that will have an impact and also be successful. And I've seen that many, many, many times. The guys that are good at failing get better at it, and they get it out of the way, and the success comes quicker. So be that as part of your makeup and your thinking every day. Liris, over to you.
Yeah, so I guess if you teach this aquaculture students, I hope that it answers but only specific to Southeast Asia environment. I hope, for example, or specifically Indonesian environment. So aquaculture students see the perspective of aquaculture maybe in one way, but I do hope that you can give this student advice on how they can actually reach out to other students in various sector of industry. So for example, bring your student in aquaculture with engineering major, or with psychology, or maybe business and development management and so on. If they have an idea, they can learn how to look at a different perspective And then yes, it's very, very normal to fail, but then with other perspective, it will help those students to go back again and just try new things out there, because it will help these students to do problem solving in terms of the idea that they want to build. So yeah, my suggestion is like to push them outside from their comfort zone and meet other people in other industry as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Liris. And that's something we do push a lot. 50% of the portfolio companies that Hatch has invested in do not come from an aquaculture background. They come from all other industries, space, satellite technology, engineering, data science, the medical space, and then or even in different professions as well, like pharma. So it's really, really interesting to see what kind of new innovations come in from adjacent sectors. And the last question we have is from Ian Nielsen, and it's asking, does Hatch look at companies that are a little past the startup phase, but wishing to expand reasonably quickly across the industry? I think maybe Wayne, you can take this one.
Sure. Thanks, Ben, and thanks, Ian, for the question. I mean, this particular innovation studio is geared towards companies not only who are very, very early stage and are looking to, put something on the ground and get things moving. It's also for those companies that, maybe are in a specific market, but they want to look at other markets and they want to utilize Hatch's network to maybe connect them with that market and players in that market. We've run these innovation studios in other parts of the world, and I think the last one we ran, we had a company which was already 10 years in existence. They were already in revenue, but they knew very little about the Asian market and wanted to, connect and learn more about that. And I think this innovation studio will certainly offer those kind of companies access to, these mentors, but also companies and connections and commercial opportunities for sure. Our brief really ultimately is to kind of grow the sector and encourage more aquaculture innovation in the space. And if you've got an idea or a company that's working on a specific market, or even not in the aquaculture market, but you're looking at aquaculture as an opportunity, we would welcome a discussion, and this could be a really good way of you finding a little bit more about the target market that you're looking at, for sure.
Thank you for that answer, Wayne. Wonderful. So maybe Kunn and Liris, you've given a bit of advice to would-be future aquaculture entrepreneurs or students. But if you could go back in time and give yourself one piece of advice to the start of the program, before the program, what would it be? Kunn, let's start with you.
If I can go back in time, 2016, when I found my company at the beginning, I would tell myself that fail fast, fail faster, and then come back fast, even faster. So maybe Algaeba with C2 counter, or maybe the next product will be even faster, maybe 2 or 3 years before now. So if that I have to tell myself in the past.
I love that message. Fail fast and then fail faster and then come back faster. Liris, yourself?
It's a tricky situations or questions that you asked, Ben. If I go back in time to me 3 years ago, I don't think that I can say much. Maybe enjoy the process, because I'm happy with the process I've been through, and if I can just redo it again, I will do the same. But probably just like enjoy the process, because Wayne has been here with me, during my ups and downs. So yeah, enjoy the process for all the entrepreneurs up there. Ben.
I think you're right, Liris, and you have good times and bad times. That's the roller coaster journey of a startup. But I think it's how you deal with it and your attitude towards it. And I have to say, for both of you guys, you always approach it from the right way. And just to put it out there too, both of these companies and these CEOs won the most investable company award on both of these accelerators. So, you know, it was a real reflection of people on their performance and their general attitude towards building their business, and how they influence people and you know, get people excited about what they're doing, that they were given these awards, and rightfully so. So yeah, I mean, I think for everybody listening in, looking at, you know, where to go, where's the next step, what to do, I think I hope we've given you enough information and support and maybe encouragement to look at, you know, an innovation studio like this in Singapore, where we hope to find and find more people like Liris and Kunn leading companies that are going to have an impact in the world of aquaculture. And we're excited about the participants that we're going to have there, hopefully 10, kicking off on the 4th of May. I think all of you are aware of the application process, it's out there, but you too can be part of a community involving Kunn and Liris, and you can see how helpful and supportive they are. You know, Hatch has worked really hard over the last 3 to 4 years in building that community, because it's really important that you surround yourself with knowledgeable people, supportive people, because building a startup is a difficult enough process as it is, without, you know, having you know, anybody knocking you. So really pleased to have the chance to talk a little bit about this today, but again, not necessarily learning from Hatch and in terms of what we think about it, but more from the people on the receiving end and those who've gone on and used what they've learned and those connections to build companies as they have over the last number of years. So really pleased, Kunn and Liris, that you could join and share with the audience today of your experiences. It's been really informative and always a pleasure to have you and to listen about your progress continually. So Ben, if that's okay with you, I think that's probably a wrap. We're right on time.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to give the details around the application process, Ben.
Yeah. So I have shared both the link to apply. The link is in the chat. The application form is at the bottom. It's not complicated. It's fairly straightforward. And then also shared the flyer with a bit more information about the thing. If either you or you know someone who might consider this Hatch Innovation Studio. And I've also shared Liris's and Kunn's emails over there if you want to reach out to them for any partnership or any discussion. They're great people to work with, so please do reach out as well. But on that note, thank you everyone for taking this time to listen to Kunn and Liris and a bit more about the program. I really appreciate you being on, and that will be all for today.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.